Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Elombah television tonight. Our guest this evening is Dr. Nwankwo Tony Nwaezeigwe. Dr. Nwaezeigwe is Director, Nigeria Civil War and Genocide Research Network. He's also a research fellow in exile at Institute of African Studies, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Dr. Nwaezeigwe is an expert in ethno-religious conflict with particular focus on Black Africa and Middle East. Dr. Nwaezeigwe, we welcome you to our program tonight.
Thank you, Chief Elombah, and this.
I'm still not a I'm still not a
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're welcome. Yeah. Our topic tonight is Igbo leadership and the road to Fulani domination of Nigeria. We will give Dr. Nwaezeigwe to give us a brief synopsis of what this topic is all about in the next 3 minutes, and then he is here to take our questions. Dr. Nwaezeigwe, you have the floor.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. 3 minutes synopsis. Okay.
Well, you can make it 5. That's okay.
Well, when we talk of Igbo leadership, we talk about a collective apex representation of the Igbo ethnic nation, without boundary, without geopolitical limits. And here we are talking about the role this class of leadership has played in advancing Fulani domination of the present nation, Nigeria. Question: how far has Igbo leadership over time aided and abetted the emergence of Fulani supremacy in Nigeria? That is the question. And the answer is yes. More than any other ethnic group in Nigeria, the Igbo leadership has actually been the driving force of Fulani domination in this Nigeria. Starting from Nwaezeigwe, if I take the 7 phases of Igbo leadership, apart from the first phase, which is pre-Zix, pre-Zix era, you talk of the Zix era, you talk of the Aguironsi era, you talk of minus the Civil War, then you talk of the post-Civil War era, you talk of the Second Republic, you talk of the Third Republic, and you talk of this present Fourth Republic. You find that in all these phases of Igbo leadership, all these phases of Nigerian history, with particular reference to Igbo leadership has played important role in advancing the Fulani supremacy in Nigeria. And if I can just give you a brief rundown of, you find that Zeke actually, because of his personal rivalry, not hatred for the Yoruba nation, Zeke loved Yoruba nation as much as Yoruba nation loved Zeke. But because of his personal rivalry with Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Nwaezeigwe decided to pitch camp with Sardauna of Sokoto and the Fulani. And for that reason, the Fulani became the dominant force in the First Republic. And again, Aguironsi, after taking over, from a coup he was never privy to, or he was subtly privy to, but not openly privy to. His major aim, his major advancement was to curry the favor of the Fulani. And that actually brought about his catastrophic fall and what became known as the dark era of Igbo history in Nigeria, from pogrom to the Civil War. You talk about the military era. Apart from Ukiwe, who said, no, I will not tolerate it, and resigned, the first ever Igbo leader to do so. First ever Igbo leader to do so. Others continued. People like Nzeribe. Then we talk about Ojukwu. People, you see, problem with Igbo man today is that most of the people they call as hero today would actually, those people who undermined Igbo integrity in Nigerian politics today. One of them was Dim Chukwuemeka Ojukwu. Throughout the time Chukwuemeka Ojukwu was in exile, his 13-year exile. The Igbo people were feared and respected. Even after the Civil War, they were treated with golden globes. They were handled with care because so long as the leader was out, they did not know, they never knew what would take place. They did not know, it's just like a snake across the road in the dark. You do not know where the head lies. But as soon as Ojukwu landed and allowed himself to be used by the Fulani to undermine Zik, from that moment, Igbo integrity in politics fell. People like Okadibo, people, even Ekwueme, who was not, who was just drafted into the same as vice president, also became a party to that factor of undermining Igbo integrity by fighting Dr. Nwaezeigwe. And from that moment, Igbo respect and integrity in leadership began to dwindle. And when people like Babangida came up, people like Aton Seriba took the same. When Abacha came up, even Ojukwu again came up with the same, supporting Abacha. And you will not believe, even against June 12. And I want to say something today, and let me repeat it, that it was Ojukwu that actually energized Abacha's takeover from who? From Shenokon. Because Admiral Alice Madweke told him in confidence that he and Colonel General Ali Chris Ali, who was the army chief of staff, were planning to arrest Abacha to sustain the June 12. Ojukwu went and reported to Abacha. And that was when Abacha removed these people and then took over power. And today we are calling this people what? We are calling him our hero, our hero. And then you move on to the present day. You could now see how our leaders have been undermining, and the problem with Igbo leadership, which is even endemic with the present class of Igbo leadership. I am saying it because the focus of Igbo leadership, the sign of Igbo failure and Igbo success, in whatever form you describe it in Nigeria, is centered on the core Igbo Southeast. If Southeast fails, it is the entire Igbo nation that fails. If Southeast succeeds, it's the entire Igbo nation that succeeds. And that is why we are concerned about the leadership that is ideological background. There is no set ideological focus in their leadership. If you look at their tangents, the tangents of their political behavior is only positive towards money. Money, fame through money. If you look at Yoruba spirituality in politics, you find that their own tangent is based on what? On their cultural nationalism. You look at the Fulani, they have Islam as a tangent. And if you look at the Middle Belt have Christianity, which they viewed as a mobilizing force to counter the Fulani emergence. Now, talking about Igbo, what are the Igbo weapons in countering the Fulani? And I can give you 7 areas of immutable areas of conflict, 7 irredeemable areas of conflict between the Igbo and the Yoruba, which not even any political alignment can address. And I can say, 1, there's difference. We have differences in ecological utilization. We have subsistence farmers and there are herders. And there's immutable conflict between herders and farmers. We will never agree because there always be conflict. There's also differences in our traditional pattern of political orientation and ascension. They believe in feudalism, and we believe in what? In achievement-oriented ascendancy. We will always clash in that. We will always have it. Then you talk about our colonial experiences. The Igbo man fought the British and was actually colonized, but the Fulani became a partner to British colonialism. We never agreed on that. Then you talk about the 4th one. We have different worldviews. we are mainly Christians. Christians, and wherever the woman goes, he goes with his own Christianity. If he's in US, if he's in Russia, after his people, his next port of call is his church. That is the woman for you. And there are certain states in Nigeria today, if the woman goes, the churches in those states will collapse. That is our focus. And for the Fulani man, his own focus, and spiritual focus is Islam. And he found that between Christianity and Islam, there is immutable conflict. There is irreconcilable conflict. And what the Igbo leadership have refused to understand is that the Fulani will never accept the Igbo man as his own ally, no matter the face with which the Igbo man appears. Because by doing so, the Fulani man will be undermining the provisions of the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran is explicit on that. And I refer you to Surah 15, chapter 5, verse 51, which is very, very clear. And it states entirely, believers, take neither Jews nor Christians for your friends and protectors. They are friends and protectors upon themselves. Anyone who takes them as friends and protectors is what? Is part of them. It is abundantly clear in Surah 5, that is chapter 5, verse 51 of the Quran. And telling a Fulani man to love an Igbo man, trust Igbo man, is like telling him to undermine the provisions of the Quran. So spiritually, we are at a distance. Spiritually, we are in a state of immutable conflict, irreconcilable conflict. And our leaders have refused to understand that. I talk about the fifth one. We talk about the factor of Ahmadu Bello. Ahmadu Bello had never liked Igbo people. Right from time, he has said it openly. Without hiding, he never wanted Igbo man. In 1964, during the census, the Nigerian census crisis, even the Northern Regional House of Assembly moved motions trying to expel Igbo people from Northern Nigeria. So it is very, very clear, if Ahmadu Bello did not like Igbo people, is it those who worship him as their God that will love Igbo people?
All right, Dr. Nwaezeigwe. Okay.
Yes. Then the sixth one, the death of Ahmadu Bello. They believe we killed Ahmadu Bello unjustly. That is under this, it is disputable. Then finally, we talk about the Usman and Fodio jihad in Nigeria, in line with what? With global jihad today. Have they stopped the Usman and Fodio jihad? If they have stopped, then the idea of believing that the Fulani man can make the best of friend for the Igbo man will not be sustained. Let me stay here for some time. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Is it right to say that your thesis has simply addressed the natural conflict between two very strong ethnicities in Nigeria, rather than one of the ethnic groups actually dominating the other?
Yes, it is that conflict. You see, when two people are in conflict with each other, and one fails to realize and understand that conflict, he becomes a subject. He becomes what? He becomes a subject of that conflict. And then he becomes the subdued. He becomes the vanquished. The Igbo leadership, in their tangential political approach, jumping middle bets, seeking political succor, seeking political Eldorado, in Hausa Fulani, Kokum, political Kokum, have failed to understand these immutable differences, which Chief Obafemi Awolowo and the Yorubas and the middle betters quite understand. The Igbo leadership over time, if you look at their tangential approach to political alignment in Nigeria, you find that they've not made any attempt to understand these immutable areas of conflicts. By the time you understand it, then you'll be able to reorder your political focus and then talk about solution to our present political quagmire. So you must understand the conflict.
Okay, is it right to assume that we are not simply lumping the Islamic North with the Fulani. Are you trying to say that the identity of the Islamic North is one with the identity of the Fulani? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. In every revolution, you have a vanguard. Like you are talking of the Russian Revolution. You have the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks were just a group, a small group of intellectuals led by Lenin. Then they mobilized others. The real Hausa man does not know what we call Fulani.
Okay, let me explain. Let me explain my question. Let me explain my question. Yeah, because since you've given us the history of Nigeria from the political history of Nigeria from the 1960s till date, and then you mentioned Sani Abacha in the same lump with Ibrahim Babangida, in the same lump with Sheikh Shagari, in the same lump with Muhammad Buhari. But we all here know that these people, not all of them are Fulanis. So why are you lumping them together with the Fulani Caliphate? Ibrahim Babangida is a Gwari, Sani Abacha is a Kanuri. They are not Fulanis.
Yeah. Fine. There is what we call adopted identity. When you come in and work within the framework, when an Ijaw man comes within the framework of Igbo political idea, he becomes transferred as Igbo. Just as in the First Republic, most of the Easterners were known as Igbo. So the point is that when you appear there, when Babangida was there, he advanced the cause of the Sokoto Caliphate, the Fulani Caliphate, which was Islamization.
What about Sani Abacha?
In OIC.
What about Sani Abacha?
Sani Abacha advanced. Remember, Sani Abacha was not only a Kanuri, he was originally from a Kanuri from Chad, who naturalized in Kano. So not even Kanuri of Nigeria. Sani Abacha came again and advanced the interests of that Fulani Caliphate.
If Fulani Abacha advanced the interests of the Fulani Caliphate, why will he depose Sultan Dasuki?
Yes, he deposed Sultan Dasuki because of the son who was then ADC to Babangida and who was not respectful to him. And again, because of the conflict again, I remember Sani Abacha did the buildings of the caliphate by putting Nigeria in D8.
No, I think my question is specific. Yes. If Sani Abacha was advancing the interest of the Fulani, remember that Ibrahim Babangida installed, or rather worked with Sultan, I'm not sure whether he installed it, but he worked with Sultan Dasuki, and his son was, I think, Babangida's ADC. Now, Sani Abacha took over power and deposed that Sultan, and installed, not only did he depose him, he went into exile. So are we now, is it still advancing the interest of the Fulani Caliphate if Sani Abacha deposed Sultan, the head of the movement?
The question here is that when Dasuki was deposed, did Sani Abacha put a Kanuri person? The answer is no. The point is that Sani Abacha knew that Dasuki, who had been a long-time Secretary General of Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs, would not listen to him, was already in the pocket of Ibrahim Babangida, who would not agree with him. So he needed to do what? To build his own traditional base. Just as the emir of God, what is it called? Dandola, what forget it. The governor of Kano said did. Because he knew that Sanusi will not agree with him. He decided to bring in the children of the old of Ado Bayero and install them there. And that's what the same thing Abacha did, bringing the son of the late Sultan to be there. Because to him, that is the person who can enjoy his confidence. The point is that so long as it is a Fulani person that replaces the Sultan, then he's actually working for the Fulani interest. So there's no question whether he's working for the interest of the Sultan or not. Because as a Kanuri man, there was no way he could have brought a Kanuri man, or he should have called the Shehu of Borno to come now and become the Sultan of Sokoto.
Okay, my question at this point would be, do you, in your thesis, where there are political conflicts, you have different political strands are striving to acquire political power. To what extent is it true that there is a Fulani domination agenda where, if for instance, the Igbo lacks the political clout to capture the presidency of Nigeria, for instance, where in another setting, a Yoruba by Obasanjo carefully playing his political game correctly, and if again we see Bola Tinubu now also play the very good political game and capture the political power in 2023, to what extent will we actually say that there is a Fulani agenda to dominate? Or is it simply that they were able to use their political schemings to capture the political power at the center, just as they did in 1960?
Yeah, you see, first of all, Obasanjo is as naive as the average Igbo political leadership, especially those talking about next presidential election in 2023. First of all, there are issues to be addressed. There are being continuous registration of voters. How many people are being registered in the South? They are trying to connect the voting. They are registering outsiders, people from Niger, people from Chad, people from Central African Republic. They are registering them, which have not been addressed. There were also evidence that kids, primary school alumni voted in the last presidential election. Have we addressed that? We have not addressed them. So how can you be? There are many issues that even our leadership have not questioned. You are talking about going to election, whereas the background on which that election will be contested is not clear, it's not set. So I don't understand what people think about when you are talking about campaign. People, it's just like you are talking about trying to plant corn in a land. Somebody else is putting yam under the same land. They are down planning, bringing their people, and I'm not telling from experience. I'm not just talking as a scholar. I'm talking as a refugee who has traversed the length and breadth of West and Central Africa as a refugee, where I had direct contact with Fulani refugees who are not trooping into Nigeria. So you find that, let me tell you this, Nigeria is not an isolated case. But the point is that Nigeria has the resources to sustain the Fulani campaign in West Africa. The entire Fulani, let me tell you, 95% of Fulani population of Central African Republic have been driven out of the country. Okay. Most of them are refugees.
What is the nature of this Fulani campaign in West Africa that you have in mind?
There's what we call universal jihad syndrome, which have been planted in the average Fulani by Usman Danfodio, by Alhaji Omar of Shegu, Tukolo, and other people. Now, let me give you a graphic example. In Sierra Leone today, the Fulani have no defined region out of the 4 regions there. But then, they have the Vice President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. They've been able with their resources to become the Vice President. Their homeland, Guinea, Conakry, they are battling with Alpha Conde, who is a Tokolo Madingo. They are battling with him. In Guinea-Bissau, they are battling with the Tokolo there. In Gambia, they succeeded through subtle means to put Adama, who is a Fulani, but came as a Wolof. In Senegal, Saleh, the president of Senegal, is a Fulani. In Burkina Faso, they are battling in northern Burkina Faso for jihad. It's Fulani. In Mali, they are battling. It is Fulani. Where even in Niger, the conflict there empowered by the Fulani. So what else? What evidence again? You need to know that what is happening in Nigeria is a global Fulani jihad, not only exclusive to Nigeria, but also extended to other parts of West Africa. And I'm giving you example of the situation in Central African Republic, where with the help of of the late President Derby, the very Central African Republic, took over power. People, Muslims of 10%, trying to rule over the rest 90%. Until France came in, I know the cause. The people revolted, anti-Balaka revolted, and then drove out the people. So that is why even in Nigerian situation today, where they try to put people, Fulani is chief of army staff, Fulani is, when the conflict starts, these officers cannot do it. It happened in the two Rwandas, Burundi and Rwanda. When the army officers could not do anything, it happened in Central African Republic, when the people rose, the army officers would not do anything. So they have done that from their history.
Thank you. What I am trying to establish here is, are we able to separate two issues? The jihadist terrorism that is ravaging the West African sub-region and this Fulani domination of Nigerian politics, or Fulani dominating the Igbo political leadership you are talking about? Or are you trying to say that the Fulani march for political domination is the same thing as this jihadist terrorism that is ravaging the Sahel region? Are you trying to say that it is one idea, or are they two different events at a point in history?
They have one purpose of operating from different frameworks.
No, so are you saying it is the same Fulanis driving this jihad in West Africa?
No, you see, there are areas like Boko Haram now is a mixture of other ethnic groups, including the Fulani.
So, yes. so we can agree that yes, it is not the Fulani that is driving the Boko Haram jihadist terrorism.
In West Africa, no. You see, Boko Haram. Remember, Boko Haram is exclusive. Boko Haram is on its own pattern. But if you now look at the other West African nations, I want you to take note of what I'm saying. If you look at the West African nation, we know how Boko Haram started. If you look at, I've given you examples, and you have to ask yourself a question. Why is it in Guinea-Conakry, in Guinea-Bissau, in Gambia, in Senegal, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Nigeria, the Fulani are the head of the banditry and of the jihad? These are the questions you have to answer.
Okay, let me play this video so that I want us to be clear. Let me just play this video now for us to let us see whether this jihadism has any connection with this Fulani political domination you are talking about.
Ourselves to certain geographies and countries like Iraq, Syria, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. We don't talk about, let's say, Nigeria, where 317 schoolgirls were kidnapped by terrorists last week. We don't talk about Mali, but
I just want to confirm, are we hearing this? Is it loud enough?
Yeah, I'm getting you. I don't know about others.
Okay.
10 soldiers were killed in a terror attack just last month. We completely ignored Niger, where 56 civilians lost their lives in a terror raid in the month of January. And we rarely see any international headlines on Burkina Faso, Algeria, Mauritania, Guinea, Chad, Ghana, or Cameroon. These are all countries witnessing a devastating surge in terror attacks. Many of them have become the riskiest places on this planet. And we're making a big mistake by assuming that what these countries suffer has no bearing on the future security and stability of the rest of the world. Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay, and we need to talk about West Africa. This region on the African continent, it is witnessing an unprecedented surge in terrorist activities. It has been called the new battleground for jihadists. The situation in West Africa is extremely volatile. Look at these numbers. As of June 2020, 921,000 people had been forced to flee in Burkina Faso. 593 people had been killed in Mali. 240,000 people were internally displaced, and 592 had been killed. And in Nigeria, 489,000 people had been forced to relocate, while 1,245 had been killed. The blame for these deaths and displacements lies with jihadist terror groups. Most of them have made a marriage of convenience with global terrorist organizations. Some are associated with the Islamic State, others with the Al-Qaeda, and all of them are pushing West Africa into deeper turmoil. But how did they emerge in Africa, and why are they thriving? To understand that, we'll begin with Algeria. The year 1992, the Algerian military staged a coup to prevent the Islamic Salvation Front from winning the country's first democratic election. The Islamic Salvation Front was an Islamist political party. The coup pushed Algeria into a civil war, a brutal conflict that lasted till 2002. More than 200,000 Algerians died during this period and 15,000 others disappeared. Among those who disappeared were Islamist fighters who fled the country. They found refuge in the deserted areas of northern Mali. These were sparsely populated areas. The fighters rebuilt their resources, they allied with local rebel groups, and they began engaging in criminal activities. In 2007, these fighters reorganized themselves into a faction and swore allegiance to the Al-Qaeda. They called themselves Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, AQIM, meaning Al-Qaeda in the Islamic West. This group had one aim: overthrow the Algerian government and set up an Islamic state. And to achieve this aim, the AQIM began collaborating and funding a smaller militant group in neighboring Nigeria, a group which now beats the Islamic State in being the most lethal terror outfit perhaps in the world, the Boko Haram. It literally means Western education is a sin. This group emerged in the year 2002 but gained prominence in 2009 after it turned violent. The AQIM provided the Boko Haram with weapons. The Boko Haram had different motive. It wanted Nigerians to reject Western education, science, and modern literature. To enforce its will, it started razing villages and slaughtering people, kidnapping children. It then used these abducted children to carry out suicide attacks. In 2013, this group kidnapped 276 schoolgirls. In 2020, it kidnapped close to 300 schoolboys, and last week, it kidnapped nearly 317 schoolgirls again. It's an endless cycle of kidnappings and an endless cycle of violence. Since May 2011, the Boko Haram has killed 37,500 people and displaced 2.6 million people. It has turned 244,000 Nigerians into refugees. And in the same period, the Boko Haram has also inspired several fundamentalists to form their own terror outfits. I could name a few: the Ansarul Islam, Ansaru, the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group, and Nusrat al-Islam. In the last 6 years, these groups have increasingly synchronized their operations and carried out multiple terror attacks across Africa. You may not have heard of them, but you must have come across these headlines, the ones that they made. The 2015 Chad suicide bombings carried out by 2 women and 2 children. The 2016 Ouagadougou attacks, where 2 former Swiss MPs were killed. The 2016 Grand Bassam shootings, where 19 people, mostly expats, were killed. And the 2018 Ouagadougou attacks, where the French embassy was attacked. And this is besides the many more raids and crimes that these terror groups commit on a daily basis. So what's driving them? Is it just ideology and religious belief? Well, yes and no. The problem is religious as much as it's financial. You see, poverty, corruption, and underemployment are also to blame here. This is where the Boko Haram operates. The Lake Chad region, one of the poorest regions in the world. It is part of the Chad Basin, an area of severe environmental degradation. This is part of the Sahel, a region with no stable governance. This narrow band of land that stretches from the Atlantic Ocean in the west to the Red Sea in the east, this is the Sahel. It's hot, dry, and vast. It's also the world's most neglected region. The average temperature here is 35 degrees. This has a dramatic effect on food production. There's nothing to grow, there's nothing to sell. Food emergencies are rampant. Poverty is widespread. The conditions make it an ideal breeding ground for terror groups. These people have proven to be vulnerable to radicalization. The likes of Boko Haram and the AQIM exploit their vulnerability. With the absence of proper governance or stable jobs, they lure young men into picking up arms, joining their ranks, and making a quick buck. So how do they do it? How do they make money? Through ransom, extortion, looting banks, imposing taxes, and kidnapping. According to one report, 26% of the global kidnapping cases in 2013 were in Nigeria and were carried out by the Boko Haram. The same report says that in 2011, the AQIM in Mali received $5.4 million per hostage on an average. Let's not even talk about high-profile kidnappings. According to Vicky Huddleston, the former US ambassador to Mali, France had to pay $17 million in ransom. This was for the release of 4 French citizens in 2010, $17 million. A lot of us would turn in our retirement papers for that sort of money. So the terror groups were raking in the cash. Then came the pandemic. 2020 was a blessing in disguise for them. The Wuhan virus confined most of us to our homes, but for terrorists in West Africa, it provided an opportunity to consolidate and expand. The Boko Haram, in collusion with other terror groups, now controls large swathes of land in Nigeria, and it's extending its reach in Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Niger, even sub-Saharan Africa. What is the world doing about it? Not very much. France, which once had colonies in West Africa, is the only country that is extensively engaged in combating terror in this region. It has deployed close to 5,100 military.
I think we should stop here at this point. I played this video extensively to highlight a phenomenon that is prominent in a lot of West African countries and even into North Africa. And still, my question remains, before we go back to the politics of it, are we trying to equate jihadist terrorism in West Africa to this so-called Fulani quest for political domination of the region? Or should we separate the two phenomena? Dr. Nwaezeigwe.
No, one has been there for long, and then one came up. And the Fulani quest for political domination, the jihad has been there. They've existed before now. The idea of global jihad, if you have actually read the main ideologue of Al-Qaeda, the late Yusuf al-Ayiri, the global jihad, and if you have also read the expert in Jehovah Jihad, the American Sarah Zuber, you found that we all know that the idea of global jihad is a recent phenomenon. But the idea of Fulani jihad has been part since 19th century and has continued. So it's a question of one trying to utilize the international connection, international linkage to pursue the same goal of domination. So it's not a question of whether they link up, they have one common purpose: Islamic domination of the world. And since their aims agree, they decided to cooperate. So it's not, we don't need to try to separate them. They are one, they're coming from different angles and with different origins. Like if you talk of the Janjaweed in Darfur region attacking the other, these are Muslims attacking Muslims because they are black. The issue, what actually was their aim and objective? That's the question you ask. So I want you to understand that the Fulani jihad has been there before the issue of global jihad came up.
All right, thank you. So that because very soon very soon we start taking questions from members of the audience. Let me ask this question. This Fulani domination of Nigerian politics, obviously, let me not ask whether it has augurs well for the country, because he will say no. So what do you think is the solution? How will the Igbo political leaders start now to reverse this trend? Do you have any idea?
First of all, the Igbo leadership have forgotten to know that politics is business, just as the buying and selling of their products is also business. As you invest in your business, so you also invest in politics. The Fulani invest in politics because they see politics as their own business. The Igbo man knows that the middle belters, people from the middle belt, have the same common ground with them. How many of them have tried to collaborate or align with the middle belt? How many Igbo businessmen have used their money to sponsor candidates in middle belt to become governors of Nasarawa State? Because these people are impoverished and they cannot actually compete with the enormous oil, our petroleum million money at the disposal of the Fulani oligarchy. How many people have gone there? Look at, for long, Kaduna states and Benue State tribal states have been born. How many Southeast Igbo leaders have gone there in solidarity, just because we are common Christians, just for the fact that we are Christians, just for the fact that we are neighbors, just for the fact that we are suffering the same thing from the same enemy. They prefer going over to Sokoto to beg for presidency, to beg for political recognition. So until we realize how to build our bridges from near us and not jumping, we cannot make a headway. What I need, what the Igbo man can do now is, first of all, extend his tentacles. You could see how calm and collected the Southwest governors are. The Igbo leadership, from Ohaneze to the governors, are in a chaotic state of mind. I don't know, because they have never had a focus, because they've actually seen the Fulani as their godfather. They've not built an inherent political ideology that will sustain their system as a people. So the people have to try to, to think inwards, build up an identity of self-assertion, self-recognition, self-pride, and then go ahead. Benue State, the Chief, the Doma, they need the Igbo people. The Southern Kaduna people need the Igbo people. If it happens today, our people are safer in this land. We are not safe in Kano. If they say we go today, you move to Kano, to Kaduna, Southern Kaduna, you move to Benue, you move to Kogi State, you are safer, apart from Ibira. The other parts of Kogi State, the Gala, the other people, they are friendly to the Igbo. So those areas that you know, those people you know that they have soft spot for the Igbo, and they can easily, they share the same historical experience, the same experience of operation from the Fulani. You go ahead and build a bridge of friendship to them, so that if Igbo man is talking about presidency, you'll be sure that the Benue man, the man from Plateau, the man from Southern Kaduna, the man from Southern Gombe, the man from Southern Bauchi, the man from the majority of them in Taraba and Adamawa State, who are mainly Christians, that have been suppressed because they don't have the resources to fight the Fulani. Even Southern Borno, these are Christians. Even in Kebbi, the Zulu Emirates are predominantly Christians, who are their godfathers. The Igbo man is supposed to play, Igbo men are supposed to play the role of godfathers by investing their resources in empowering these people to fight their political cause.
But is it possible, sorry for the interjection, is it possible that the Igbo politician might reason that the people of the Middle Belt are so disparate, they are so divided into small groups, that it will take a huge resource to mobilize all of them together, and then they simply prefer to work with a large ethnic bloc like the Hausa Fulani instead of trying to work with small ethnic groups that dominate the Middle Belt? What do you think?
The Middle Beltans are more united than Igbo with one language, because they have a common ideological setting founded on Christianity as opposed to Islam. They have a spiritual direction, so they can speak with one word. The Igbo, even with one language and one Christianity, cannot speak with one word. So it's a very false assumption. That's what I'm telling you. And I've worked with these people, and I know their political heartbeats.
If that were so, why was, and I recollect that Alex Ekweme worked very well with Solomon Lar, who was widely regarded as the leader of the Middlewest region for a long time, and yet that didn't deliver the presidency to Ekweme because they called not back the different candidate then in 1999 and again in 2003.
No, Ekweme had a very bad foundation, because remember, Ekweme had very bad foundation. If you look at the politics of Second Republic, you find that Ekweme was a stooge of the caliphate, and he worked against these people. And Somora was anchorman of Zik in Plateau State. If you look at the politics of old Anambra State and Imo State, where today my main idols in Igbo leadership today remain Jim Mobodo and Samun Bakwe, who stood their ground against Hausa Fulani oligarchy. So Ekweme shouldn't have enjoyed the legacy, the largesse of political struggles. Moreover, The political struggle that came at that time was that of how do we palliate the Yoruba, the restless Yoruba group because of June 12th. And the women never struggled with June 12th. It was never part of the June 12th. You can also see the reason how did Jonathan emerge. Governor Odili was already a president in waiting. It's simply because the need to put down the restive Ijo and Niger Delta. They started to bring in Jonathan. So Ekweme lacked the indices, the political indices that should have made him to be chosen as the president of the federation at the time. So you look at certain intervening factors before you arrive at a conclusion.
Okay, at this point, we will be happy to welcome questions from our listeners. Please feel free to use the device to raise your hand, and then I will see it, and then I'll call you up to pose questions to our guest tonight on this very important topic, Fulani political domination, Fulani domination of Igbo political leadership. Seeing the complexities of Nigeria politics today, what is the likelihood that what your projection will actually happen, where the Igbo will try to build different political alliance with the Middle Belt, rather than always trying to build a political alliance with the Core North?
You see, I'm a historian, and I'm not a social scientist. The social scientists apply what we call the diachronic approach. We apply synchronic approach. We move with time. It's just like in physics, in physical sciences, you have what they call a scalar quantity and vector quantity. Scalar quantity has magnitude in no direction. Vector quantity has magnitude in direction. The historian operates within the realm of a vector fact. The point is very, very clear. If you look at the elections, fourth elections, the voting pattern during Obasanjo's time, in fact, nearly the whole of Core North voted against Obasanjo, and yet he won. He won on 2 occasions. He won. Jonathan dissented. Most of the Core Northern states voted against Jonathan, and he won. So it is not. It means that we can still the Igbo man can still win the election. We tell these people. We tell these people who are immutably unreliable and untrustworthy. If you mobilize the Middle Belt, the South, and the Yoruba group, who are the Fulani, who are the Northerners, they've tried it before they've lost. And if let me say it, if General Buhari defeated Jonathan, it was not because they are more in population. It was because, first of all, they were able to mobilize the West against Jonathan. Even the East, they stopped the East from voting. What they did was gerrymandering. They made sure that the East did not vote. The South did not vote. Apart from Delta and River states, which other states turned above 600,000? Only Abia State tried to make it 400,000 voters for Jonathan.
Okay.
About 85,000. Enugu State about it. So in fact, they have their own plan. They think ahead, just as they are now putting their people in the judiciary, putting younger ones, so that before you learn, anytime you come, you always see their people at the head. And we are sleeping.
All right, at this point, Dr. Nwaezeigwe, I invited some colleagues, friends from northern part of Nigeria to this program to respond to some of the issues you've raised. I don't know whether they will be happy to speak or they are simply content to listen. Mr. Sani Said, I don't know whether you will be happy to respond. And Pamson Dagiat, would you be happy to, because there is one issue, I think it was Pamson that raised yesterday, also emphasizing the need for this political alliance between the Middle Belt, especially people of Southern Kaduna, with the Igbo political leadership. So I don't know whether you would like to say anything at this point, Mr. Pamson. Do you want to unmute yourself? And Sani too. Pamson, are you there? No? Comrade Sani Said.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Are you happy to respond to some of the issues raised in this discussion?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much once again for this wonderful opportunity. Although someone says that what is Sani doing? Okay, you said I should start my video, right?
Well, it's up to you. If you like to speak without video, it's up to you. Once we are hearing your voice.
I prefer to speak. Yeah, I prefer to speak without the video.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So since I think from the theme of this program, I think it is not appropriate because it seems like it is a divisive element or theme. Because when you keep saying this Fulanization or Islamization agenda, it keeps sending signals to the mind of many that this agenda still exists. To me, there is nothing like the Fulanization or Islamization agenda. What we are seeing at the political terrain is a kind of nepotistic administration, whereby the person at the realm of affairs deems it fit to appoint his kinsmen to lead the country. And this one, going back to the history, it applies to the administration of Olusegun Obasanjo, applies same to the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, and that is what is replicating in the administration of Obasanjo. I gave certain example in the comment section of the Zoom meeting. For those, I gave reference so that people could go and view it, read it, and comprehend it further. For instance, the chief of army staff during the administration of Jonathan was Kenneth Minima. His Minister of Defense of Finance was Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Minister of Petroleum was Dizani Alison Madukwe. Inspector General of Police was Solomon Arasi. CBN Governor was Godwin Emefiele, and a host of others. So that is purely nepotistic. And there wasn't any Muslim northerner that raised alarm that Jonathan was trying to Christianize Nigeria. So we should remove that at the back of our mind. Oh, now just think, is there anyone capable of dethroning any Eastern chief and plant a northerner, to rule the people? That's not possible. Is there any northerner that is capable of, converting any Christian by force into Islam? That is not possible. We are in the 21st century. We're supposed to be thinking in an advanced manner. No one can force anyone to any religion. Now, let's think of this insecurity. It started at the north. The Kanuris, who are the people controlling Boko Haram, they started killing fellow northerners and Muslims, of course. They don't differentiate between Christians and Muslims here in the north. And now, before anyone is killed in the south, you hear of hundreds of people killed in the north. So the height of insecurity in the north is quite disheartening. It is also disturbing us. Of recent, the student kidnapped in
Okay, I think he has a problem with his network. Let's hope
A friend
okay.
of mine was. Hello?
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Are you with?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead and round up.
Okay. So we should remove this thing at the back of our mind. Now, if we have an Igbo president, the first thing he will do is to make sure that all his kinsmen are implanted in sensitive position. That is the cause. I am not trying to be nepotistic myself, but that is our belief in Nigeria. Once you are there, make sure your people are also there. That is the general belief. And this thing is there at the back of our mind. Someone just tried to replicate it in the comment section by saying that what is Sani doing in an Igbo-dominated program, which is not supposed to be so. These Igbo are my brothers. At least the history of a Hausa man cannot be completed without putting the Igbo man inside. He has contributed immensely to the development of Hausa people and Hausa nation. Now just come to the north. Just whatever village you can think of, if you go, you must find an Igbo man with his shop, either selling spare parts or medication. In each and every nook and crannies of the north, you will find Igbo people there. Now, just think of what happened during the NSAS protest. How many northerners were killed in the south, in Port Harcourt, in Aba, in so many places? Did any northerner kill an Igbo man here in the north? Just think of it, a single person. But we have many scenarios whereby Hausa people were killed, their properties burned down in the south, in the southeast. Yes, it is there. You can Google it. It is there. So let's always be thinking of one Nigeria. In a situation whereby we keep thinking of the Fulanization or Islamization agenda, we will never be one. And if we think of separating, we shouldn't separate as the way North and Southern Sudan separated. We should separate through referendum peacefully, so that Sani, when he's traveling to Akwa Ibom or Enugu, he will just obtain visa and travel without fear. He will travel, do his business there, come back to the north.
Thank you very much, Sani. I hope you will still be around. If there is any other issue, you may want to still contribute. Thank you very much for this contribution. I'm sure Dr. Nwaezeigwe took note of some of the issues you raised and may want to respond, and then we will call on Pamson again if he's ready. But meanwhile, let's go to Dr. Nwaezeigwe at this point. Yeah, Pamson, if you just wait for some minutes, let Dr. Nwaezeigwe reply to Sani before I will call you back.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
First of all, let me correct the impression created by our friend Sani. We just trying to paint black, white, which is impossible. First of all, Boko Haram is not empowered by Kanuri. If you know the ethnic configuration of Northwest, Northeast, the Fulani are there. After the Kanuri, you have the Fulani. You have other ethnic groups there, like the Fika. In fact, the emir of Damaturu today is a Fulani. So I don't know what he's talking about. And I've been there. I passed through that place. I've interacted them. You have the Shua Arab. You have the Kanem. You have the Fulani. If you go down to Adama, where Boko Haram is also operating, they're dominated by Fulani. You cross over to the other side, Temerun side, I've been to the other side, Banyo, which is a Fulani town in Temerun. I've been to Tabita, which is a Fulani town in Tabita. I've been to Ngandere, the capital of Adama region in Temerun, which is Fulani. They are connected with the Boko Haram battle. So I don't know what he's talking about.
No, I think the question he's asking is similar to what I asked before anyway. The makeup of the Boko Haram jihadists is not Fulani, definitely. It is more of Kanuri membership. And then when they started their terrorist activities, they are also killing Muslims. They didn't differentiate between who is a Christian and who is a Muslim.
Excuse me, Chief Elombah, I am talking from the stable of an expert. The average Kanuri is one of the more gentle men in Nigeria. The Shua Arabs, are also very gentle. If you have been to Lake Chad region, the people who radicalize are the Fulani, the Kanem. They are the people who radicalize Boko Haram. And they are found, and most of them troops from Central African Republic to join their ranks.
Okay, how would you respond to the other issue he raised, that what is happening in the what is happening in the governance of Nigeria is just presidents being nepotistic, appointing their kinsmen to positions of responsibilities rather than appointing on the basis of merit. They appoint people from their own ethnic groups to man those sensitive positions.
First of all, it's wrong because it's not into Nigerian history. Many men just came in after Ihe and Ihe just came in after Luka. And back there was chief of defense staff from the north, the chief of air staff from west, the chief of naval staff from the north, also from the south. At the later stage, and then later changed. So Jonathan never had a specific ethnic group dominating his regime. He changed them.
No, he did. He did. He did. Yes. The Jonathan appointed a predominant people from the southeast and south into his government.
No, please check the list. Check the list. Who you are talking of? We are talking of Ijo. We are not talking of Northerners. We are talking of Ijo. How many Ijo people, apart from the same Madeke and Minima who came late? We are now talking of. We are not talking of Ijo. We are talking of the south. It's a question of north. If the present regime is appointing Northerners, which will include Middle Beta, the Hausa, the Kanuri, and the other areas, it will be a different thing. We are talking of a minority group, Fulani.
But if we follow your argument, Buhari was also appointing the Kanuri, the chief of army staff, the former chief of army staff was a Kanuri, the demander that just left, that stayed there for almost all eternity before he left.
No. You got it wrong. If you don't know what is happening in Nigeria, Buhari, mother they claim is from Kanuri, and he was once governor of northeastern states, which included Bauchi State and Borno and others. They say his mother is from Kanuri. But we are not going to go into that because there are a lot of stories to tell about his origin and his existence. We are talking about a particular group, not Hausa. We are talking about the Torobe. The Hausa, they are known among them as the Toronko or Torobe, not even Fulani. We are talking of the Torobe, the Toronko one, dominating the judiciary from Chief Justice of Nigeria to Chief of Appeal Court. The present IG
is the Chief Justice a Fulani?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Is he a Fulani?
100% Fulani.
Is the IGP of police a Fulani?
The present police is a Fulani from Yobe State, not a Kanuri, not a Fika. Because there are many other, there are other ethnic groups in Yobe State. But the present one is Fulani, and Fulani is one of the dominant ethnic groups in Yobe State.
The chief of defense is the chief of defense staff. Where is he from?
The chief of defense staff. The chief of defense staff is from database. The chief of defense staff is a commander without command. The chief of defense staff is just a commander. It's just a ceremonial appointment. He has no division. He has no army. So for us who know the intricacies of military command, we know it's not like appointing me in band division, education corps, and appointing you in armored corps that you think is the same appointment. The chief of staff is chief of defense staff. It's a ceremonial staff. It's a ceremonial appointment. He has no command. He has no troop under him. So forget it.
All right, let's call on. We thank you. Let's call on Pamson, please. What's your contribution? Pamson Daga.
Yes, good evening all. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay. We just want to say that what Sani narrated is yesterday I was telling you about the moderates against the fanatics. The moderates will give you the semblance of understanding that all is well. If you follow the constitution, you will understand that these things are permissible. But the reality, in the practical sense of it, you will find out that this thing is tweaked against the obvious. So I would rather accept what he said with a pinch of salt. Let's talk about the statistics he even dish out. I would have preferred if he would have placed the statistics side by side. During Jonathan, for this particular position, it was this. But during Buhari is this. During Jonathan, this other position is this. That way, you will be able to see and make reference. But putting the statistics that we're selecting agencies, how many agencies do we have? How many federal agencies do we have? And you are bringing 30. We have more than 100 agencies. So what happened to the other 70 something? So I think when it comes to statistics, I am a statistician by profession and by discipline, and I am privileged to be the pioneer statistician general of Plateau State. So if we are presenting statistics, let's present the statistics in a way that it will be fair, and then the interpretation should make meaning. But let me get back to the real crux of my own narration. Prof was very right. I think it is we in the Middle Belt that are looking up to the East, knowing that we share a common religious affinity, because the Middle Belt, what is making us, the bond we are having within the Middle Belt is the Christianity. What many of you don't realize is that we are at the crisis line between where the Muslim stops and then the Christian starts. So you will not understand the kind of pressure we are having here. So if somebody is telling you some of those things, and then some of us marveled. So there must be an understanding from the East that in the Middle Belt, you have your brothers, even if it is not by cultural affinity, but by religious understanding. During election, the biggest line of mobilization is religion at the northern part. And it is working for them. And that is why I laugh. If the Igbos just believe that by playing the politics the way they are playing it, without understanding where you must drive your line of mobilization, you bring in the Middle Belters, bring your Igbo strength, bring the South-South, at least we will have gotten a 50% standing in respect to the presidency. Therefore, it will now be for us, both sides now, to struggle and get which one will now be the majority. But that's not how the Igbos are playing it. They just believe that, okay, if the caliphate have a way of manipulating things, why don't we just get tied to them? Just like Obasanjo got into the power because of the caliphate inclination to him. The reason for the inclination for Obasanjo is clear. June 12 came and there was issues. And they are looking for a liberal who understands, who will not be so aggressive to the North. And then they got that person in Obasanjo. And that is how he became. It was because he has a political equation and mathematics. No. So I was thinking this presentation will really, I was just trying to understand how is the Igbo leadership being affected by is it the Fulanization or by the Northern hegemony? How it is being affected. But when we're looking at the general Nigerian scenario. If that is the case, then the Igbo must look at the line of mobilization for them to even have a shot at the presidency. Just like we in the Middle Belt, it is clear we cannot have a shot of this presidency. Anytime they say it is the North, they will tell you that the North is not the Middle Belt. During Obasanjo, for instance, when he was appointing Middle Belters, didn't MSRs from the core North went to him and said that he's not appointing the Northerners? It was clear during Obasanjo it happened. This is a live scenario that all of us are partakers of it. So we need to understand this line of divide. And then we that have this minority strength towards the presidency must come together and then pull our strengths together. And then that is the only way. And I think that is the line I am behind the prof, because he seems to understand that very well. And yesterday, somebody really made it clear that the average Igbo man do not understand who the Middle Belters are. He sees us as the core North. And that has always been our problem.
Thank you very much.
I think I would like to stop here. Maybe thereafter,
yes,
I have cause to.
All right. Okay. We thank you. Now, Dr. Nwaezeigwe, following from what Pamson have just said, let me ask a question. Whenever I hear someone, a professional like you, discussing this issue of Fulani and Islamization agenda, this thing that we call Fulani or Islamization agenda, is it simply a group of politicians using their ethnicity for political domination? Or is it a question of an ethnic group trying to conquer and usurp the resources of another ethnic group? Are you able to distinguish the two?
Yeah. You see, the point is that Islam is not the core objective of jihad. Political domination, which comes with economic domination, is at the center of every jihad. If you know what it means by jihad, the concept of jihad of Islam. But religion comes in. When Usman Dan Fodio came and mobilized other Hausa people to conquer the Seriki, the ruling Hausa king, he used Islam, even though those people were Muslims. When the same Usman Dan Fodio went in to attack the men of Borno and then the Shehu of Borno, for Christ's sake, Borno people have seen Christian, they have become Muslim since 8th century AD. And then how could the Fulani who saw Islam in 16th century now talk of converting them? So it was political, and that was the problem, the major argument between Usman Dan Fodio and with his son, Mohammed Bello, and Mohammed Al-Amin El-Kanami, the Shehu of Borno. Why are you attacking me? I'm a Muslim like you. And he was telling him, you are not a good Muslim, you are not a good Muslim. And today, the same Fulani people are using Islam to even cover some Yoruba Muslims to start resisting their people. There is Islam to talk of we are one not. There is Islam to make Nupe redundant and forget their ethnic identity. Using Islam to make the Hausa become perpetual slaves unto them. And they're using Islam to even make the Ibira who have the same cultural relationship with us, think that they are now closer to the Fulani than to us. Even some Igala are thinking of such. Because in the deceptivity of using religion, using Islam to deceive people. But the actual aim is conquest. Actual aim is domination, political conquest, which goes with economic conquest. Because the Fulani everywhere, apart from cattle, they do not have any other business.
All right,
the only exception from my research is the Fulani of Guinea-Conakry, who are mainly traders now, selling, merchandise, selling like Igbo people. Reason, because the Susu and the Madingo have alienated them from political contests.
Let's hear from Sani again, sir.
Guinea-Conakry. That's just the difference.
Okay, let's hear from Sani, please. Comrade Sani, please. You can unmute yourself. Sani Said, please. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir. Yes, I've just unmuted. Okay, I just want to make some corrections here with regard to the Boko Haram issue. You see, the first leader of Boko Haram is Muhammad Yusuf, who is Kanuri by tribe. The second leader now is Shekau, who is also Kanuri by tribe. And the other faction leader is Al-Barnawi, who was recently gone down by, I think, men of the armed forces. So this makes it purely a Kanuri phenomena, because it is the leadership that will consider not anything like Fulani. Also, with regard to the issue of the guy talking from Plateau State, I was also born and brought up in Plateau State, Barikiladi to be precise, Barikiladi local government. To tell him that I know a little bit of about Plateau State. Now, when you talk of middle belt, is there anything constitutionally recognized as middle belt? That's the question we need to be asking ourselves. All we know is that we have the Northwest, Northeast, and the North Central. And the middle belt seems to fall within the North Central. That is Kogi, Nasarawa, Plateau, and some other states. So if you want to differentiate anything like middle belt, get it constitutionally right first before you say anything. More so now on religion and culture. These are two different things. When religion came into Nigeria, there are certain cultures that were forbidden. For instance, like the killings of the twins. It was regarded as unconstitutional, something evil. The twins were regarded as evil by culture, but with scientific fact and evidence, it was now verified that the evil, it is nothing concerning evil. It has nothing to do with evil. So there are something, I want to establish a particular fact here. When doctor was saying that the Muslims were trying to stop people like from Niger, that's I've forgotten the tribe, the Niger tribe. He just mentioned Gwari and some other tribes. He mentioned that the Islam want to dominate them and want to stop them from practicing their culture. This is totally true. If you are practicing Islam, there are certain cultural traits that you have to stop them. So the Islam preaches against those things. If he is not aware of what the Islamic teaching stated, he should stop quoting verses that he is not conversant, familiar with. That's on the issue of religion and culture. They are two different things. So when we talk of Islam, culture doesn't come in. Culture has to be stepped aside. Now I am a Hausa by tribe and a Muslim, but there are certain traditional beliefs we have as far as Hausa people are concerned. But if I am to practice Islam as the way it is stated in our Holy Quran, I have to stop my Hausa practice, Hausa religious practice. Just like the Igbos now, they have their traditional beliefs. So if they are to practice Christianity perfectly, they have to stop that traditional belief. So that is what is exactly happening here in the North. No one is trying to dominate some ethnic groups, but the preachings of the religion, that is what matters. He has been saying Fulanization or Fulani and Islamic domination. Politics is a game of number. In the North, we have 19 states. How many states do you have in the Southeast? How many states do you have in the Southwest? It is a game of number. So if you have the number, come out with the number and vote your president. And since 1990, we've been forming alliance. The North has been forming alliance. I don't want to be partisan or be much into politics because that is not where we are heading to. We want to understand a particular aspect, but he keeps bringing something regarding to politics and politicizing the matter, which is not supposed to be so. Now let's talk about the politics. It is a game of number. The Hausa keep making alliance with the Yorubas, and at the end it pays off. What matters in politics is payoff. So if the Igbo deems it fit, they can also form alliance with either the Hausa or Yoruba and claim the #1 position, just like what happened in the last election. The PDP vice president was Igbo. So assuming they were able to take power, it will be a Hausa Igbo presidency. It will be a kind of Hausa Igbo presidency. So that's it. That's my take on this. We should stop politicizing this issue and face the fact. Thank you very much, sir.
I thank you very much. I'm flowing from your comment. Let me also pose this question now, flowing from what you said. Politics being a game of numbers. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, in 1963, in 1960, rather than forming an alliance with the Action Group, who is open to that, chose to form an alliance with NPC. In 2011, Buhari wanted to form an alliance with ACN, with Tinubu's ACN. The alliance did not work. And because Tinubu's ACN and the CPC failed to form that alliance, Jonathan defeated Buhari in 2011. Then in 2015, Tinubu's FCN and Buhari's CPC succeeded in forming that alliance, formed APC, and clinched the presidency. If they had failed to form that alliance in 2015, it is likely that Jonathan of PDP will have won. So if politics is a game of numbers, why do the Igbos always talk about this Fulanization as if there is a law, something that stops them from also forming this alliance you are talking about with other ethnic like the Yorubas, for example, and then clinching the presidency? That's my question.
And more so, before now, Buhari once chooses Okadigbo as his vice president.
Let me talk.
And he was unable to clinch the ticket.
Please, let us address.
That's it. So my battery is down. I think I have to call it.
I thank you very much, Fanny. Dr. Nwaezeigwe, what do you have to say to that?
Let me ask him some questions. Please, let him know who switch off his battery. Tell him.
No, go ahead. You're addressing the public, not just him. People are listening.
First of all, you see, I don't like people telling me I should not quote Bible. I can't tell a Muslim not to quote Bible if I have the reason, to contradict me as a Christian. And I've told him clear. First of all, he's false in what he's saying. First, he's not an Hausa, because if you're an Hausa, he should not have spoken the way, he spoke, because the Hausa people are downtrodden today. Secondly, if he's talking about cultural precepts in Islam, why is it that the Fulani Buroro, the main people causing problems to the Fulani herdsmen are not Muslims? They don't go to mosque. They believe in their tradition, and the emirs and their preachers have continued to condone, not only condone them, but to use them as their weapon of jihad. That's from the 19th century. And telling us Islam does not want it. Is it not hypocrisy on the right of the caliphate? You are people you are using to harass and intimidate people and kidnap people and kill innocent people are not Muslim. And you're telling us you want us to become Muslim. You also fail to tell us how many Hausa people are occupying important political positions in Nigeria today. You should also tell us at what point did Meiti Allah Kuta came up? When did the Fulani begin to define themselves as an exclusive, as a separate entity in Nigeria? For long, we have all known one thing, Hausa Fulani. From nowhere, we heard about the Fulani now, Nobody talks about Hausa now. It is Fulani. At what point? At what point? Because now, we as scholars, it is now uncultural for us to mention Hausa Fulani in our writings. You don't write as a historian, you don't say Hausa Fulani. We no longer apply it. We talk about the Fulani and Hausa. But a decade ago, it was all Hausa Fulani. It should tell us at what point did they now rise up after hibernating and planning to now assert their independence identity. And again, politics, they are nothing like politics is a game of numbers. Politics is the ability to manipulate numbers, whether false or truth. And that is what has been happening in Nigeria, both in census and in elections. So it does not matter the alliance you make. And if the gap was removed, as Okwadike demanded Jonathan to do, Buhari should not have won the election. So it was not the question of number, but it was Jega's ability to manipulate number. Where's monkeys of 2 years, 3 years voted, and we are shown the videos, live and direct.
Did anybody stop? Did anyone stop the Igbos from also manipulating numbers? They manipulated numbers in 2011.
No. Moderator, I beg your pardon. You are a judge here.
I'm asking a question. It's just a question.
You are on a table of justice, and we're talking about justice in Nigeria. If we are like everybody now, like you now have herdsmen, you now have bandits, you now have unknown gunmen. Nigeria is in a chaotic situation now because everybody now see evil as their own game. We are talking of a just society. We are talking of a nation with equality, justice, and fair play.
Okay, let's invite.
You an armed robber, now go and become armed robber. No, we're actually making Nigeria, a good nation for us and a peaceful nation for us to live. Let us talk about justice and let us not be jealous of those and then partake in the same injustice.
Okay, let's call on Ezeluchi at this point. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, what was the question, please? The question, I am on the question.
I thought you were raising up your hand, so yes. I called on you.
Okay, good. What I wanted to say was, I've heard from both Sani and the man who spoke earlier before Sani and the doctor. And I am one how this factors in with precision for the doctor, because the reality in Nigeria is that we tend to over politicize issues. When you say politics is a game of numbers, and you belittle it because it's more than numbers, like Dr. Nwaezeigwe was just trying to help. It is far much more than numbers. We have factors that play in which beyond even our control as Nigerians. The international forces are there. We know what happened to the Jonathan presidency. It was not just a domestic affair. I'm saying that it's of forming alliances. That is not the fact. Right from even the Zeke's alliance with the North group, it was a coerced alliance. I mean, there was reasons. It was actually Zeke was actually blackmailed into forming that alliance. He had no hope. He had choice. So we have to try to look at the underlying issues, just approach politics from just what is thrown at us. There are several factors which go in, and we should begin to, if we don't understand those factors, we'll always keep on going around in circles. Like as it is now, approaching an election cycle, and we are still thinking it's a matter of alliance. We don't realize that some foreign forces have a vested interest in one, keeping it together, because the more it's kept together, the more they can milk the contraption the way and as they like. The same way that they want to keep Nigeria together is how they are forcing Congo to remain together. A country that has never seen governance, but the West will want to be together so that they can plan where they like. That is the same thing happening in Nigeria. Keeping Nigeria together is for the benefit of foreign interests and not to the benefit of any Nigerian. No tribe in Nigeria benefits from the way Nigeria is. And when I say no tribe, even the Northerners, the Fulani, the Hausa, nobody is benefiting. You have a less than 0. minuscule percentage of Nigerians are even benefiting from the scam called Nigeria for now. So we should first of all address the issue. How do we make Nigeria, how do we restrict Nigeria for our own interests? Because as it is, Nigeria is being kept together by foreign interests for the ability to milk the country. That's what I think we should be looking at. Thank you.
All right, we thank you very much. Let me ask a final question before we come to the end of this program. Dr. Nwaezeigwe,
yes.
If the Igbo intelligentsia,
yes.
the Igbo billionaires, and the Igbo politicians come together and agree on one political candidate in one political party and mustered resources the way they not mustered resources for General Obasanjo in 1999, do you think that such candidate could win the presidency with such massive support from the Igbo intelligentsia and the Igbo elite?
You know, politics is a gold mine in this sense. It's not the amount of money you put in that matters. It is in networking. It is ability to network. And what we are saying is that the Igbo have not even networked. It's not by campaigning, going to not, no, it's not the resources, it's not one candidate that matters. You can end up having the 3 political parties or 2 political parties having Igbo people as candidates, as you know, as the Fulani did in the case of Buhari and Atiku, and the Yoruba did in the case of Falei and Obasanjo. But it is networking, and networking does not require excessive resources. It's getting the right people. But the Igbo leadership have a tendency of, oh, I know this man's face, even though he's not able to do it. Let him go because he's my brother. Oh, this man, even though he has a talent, he will not dance to my own tune. He will not be there. We're giving the decide. What Nigeria needs now is, what the Igbo man needs now is cross-cutting alliances. Reach out to the middle belts. Reach out to the Yoruba. Reach out to the South-South. The middle belt are crying for Southerners to come to their aid. It is what? It is a fertile ground. The Christians will say, the evangelists will say, the labor is plenty, but the laborers are few. The middle belt, let the Igbo people, how many Igbo leaders, how many Igbo governors have gone to Plateau, have gone to Benue State.
Zik did it. Azikiwe did it. Azikiwe got Plateau and Benue State.
No, Azikiwe didn't get Benue State. Azikiwe didn't get Benue State.
Nigerian People's Party got Benue State in 1979.
No, it is Plateau. Benue State, because of Taka, Joseph Taka went to MPN. Unongo from Katsina Ala was with Zik, but he did not make it. I'm telling you as a historian, and that is my own area. Joseph Taka, who was leader of United Middle Belt Congress, was Obasanjo's, Awolowo's ally in the First Republic. In the Second Republic, he aligned with MPN.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's hear from Nwaezeigwe HDM Okoye, please. Can you unmute yourself? Nwaezeigwe Okoye, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Elombah, and thank you, Mr. Nwankwo or Dr. Nwankwo. I think the issue that we're discussing, I think, is not as binary as we are trying to put it. I know that the Fulanis perhaps do have an agenda to Fulanize Nigeria, and that's where it's a bit difficult to sort of see how they are going about it, because there's no proper sort of study to say, okay, this is what they are doing or this is what they are not doing. There's a lot of gray area that actually, if you start to pursuing that reasoning, you come to a wall that actually is not the case, that perhaps there is a general sort of political elite in Nigeria that is hell-bent on keeping their own people down in order to be able to, that elite of each section of Nigeria, to be milking the people, not only the Fulanis, but the other sort of ethnic regions in Nigeria. Because, I mean, Jonathan was the president of Nigeria a little while ago. Things didn't get any better under Jonathan. Obasanjo, things didn't get better for the Yorubas then. So I think there is that general consensus from my own point of view of the Nigerian political elite, whereby the individual sections of the country, their elite, their political elite, are hell-bent on keeping their population down so that the political elite of that region will be milking the rest of the people. I don't think that the Fulanis can, in a million years, Fulanize Nigeria. That is impractical. That is impossible. That is, they cannot do that. They'll not be able to do that without, all Nigerians being burnt in one day. So I think there is something that we are missing with regards to our own political leaders, our own political elites, who goes to make these deals, this goes to make these alliances with these Fulanis or whatever tribe they try to make these alliances with. So I think we have to, put that into consideration that our own people, our own political elites don't really want to, come to terms with regards to what is going on. Perhaps they are in it. They are parts and parcels of this, whatever you might call it, Fulanization of Nigeria or what have you. That's my own opinion.
I thank you very much. Let's also hear from Dr. Henry Ogune. Please, can you unmute yourself, sir?
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies, and thanks for this conference. It's very, very, very well educating, very enriching, and it's been very civil so far, unlike most Nigerian discussions. But I think, in all honesty, we are being too academic about all this discussion. We have not really asked the people what they want. I'm a Nigerian, I live in the diaspora. If you ask a typical Nigerian what they want, I think they want something different from what we're discussing. Talking about the Igbos, is actually only the very minor percentage of Igbo politicians that are talking about Igbo presidency. 99.99% of Igbo people don't want Igbo presidency. They actually don't want to be a part of Nigeria. Same applies to Yoruba. Only the few Yoruba elites, and according to what the last speaker said, those people who are milking and keeping their own people down that want to be a part of this Nigeria. I think a more civil discussion will be to ask people what they want. And as we stand now, Nigeria looks like a relationship where each party relationship is cheating on one another. So, in all honesty, the most amicable thing there is to find a way to separate the relationship without degenerating into bloodshed. That may be the only sustainable way going forward. Any other thing would be like keeping people who doesn't want to be together. And if people who don't want to be together are kept together, there will be no progress and there will be no nation building. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think there was also another hand that I saw, Ugu someone. I think the hand is now down. I would have loved everybody to make his comments and then invite our eminent guest to make his final submissions before we round it up. Okay, Raymond, please, can you? Okay, Ugu Ikenga is back. Okay, let's hear Raymond and then go to Ugu Ikenga, please. Ugu, sorry, I've already called Raymond Onebu, please. Mr. Onebu, can you please unmute yourself? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity once again. And I have been listening from the starting of this program. And from what I recall, or what I see, you see, when a president came into power, he see his tribe or his area as the Nigeria, which all of us agreed on. And when we look at that clearly, we see even the president himself is dividing the country directly or indirectly. We witnessed this from Obasanjo, but in the case of Muhammadu Buhari, it's too much. And now we keep on asking Fulanization or Islamization. When a certain group of people will come or make a law that you must bring your land for us to rear our cattle, and if you don't do that, we kill you, and it's not a threat, and they are doing it. It bothers me a lot why we are still playing politics, talking about one Nigeria, when we know that there is no one Nigeria. We have to be honest, like the last speaker said, And even the other person, what is his name, Patterson, said it, that let us not separate maybe with the violence or with the gun. But when you look around how things is going, you cannot build a nation with your enemy. There is no need of painting it or camouflaging it or talking it away that we are on television, people are listening. Is it not better we tell ourselves the truth and know which way forward? How can we be in Eastern Zone, seeing people coming there, killing our fathers, killing our mothers, killing women with their children on their back? Not one, not two, not in one location, not in two, not in three locations, all over Igbo land. And we are still saying as we don't feel it, we don't know it. Somebody is also saying, how can we force somebody, we are in this century or we are not in this century? Do we see what is happening? What is happening now? We don't need to go to 1914 to see exactly what is happening now. So now what we have to do now is, there is not a time for us to go and pray and fasting. Cannot do any good to us. Okay. When somebody bring a war into your house, the person already push you to the wall. You must come out and defend yourself in any means. Sometimes last time, some people were saying, but they kill Fulanis in Owerri, they kill them in Aba, they kill them in Omaha, they kill them in Akokwa. But have you seen an Igbo people that went to any northern part of Nigeria and kill people with their farm and no arrest is being made?
Thank you
Instead,
very much.
the military will come and take their dead bodies away and hide them. I'm in Nigeria and I feel bad when sometimes I listen to people trying to painting what is they see with their naked eye.
Thank you,
as if
sir.
it's not what is happening really. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have so many hands. Joy Amado, please. Are you able to unmute yourself? Okay. Ugu Ikenga Patrick, can you unmute yourself?
Good evening, all.
You're welcome.
I just want to appreciate the organizers of this conference. It's a very wonderful one, and then the presenters and all those who have been contributing, very, very wonderful. I just want, if you look at, even for instance, the geography of Nigeria, you begin to wonder whether there is even something like not when they talk about North Central. What do they mean by North Central? If you look at it from a common man perspective, just use your hand to draw, to divide Nigeria. Look at the Nigerian map, divide it into two equal halves. And you tell me all the states that fall within the south and those that fall within the northern part of Nigeria. So you see that the typical northern person, so that you even see Benue State is very, very far down south. Plateau is down south. What do we talk about when we talk about North Central? What do we mean by that? When all these states are down, what a typical northern person is politically conscious and uses every means possible within his own circumference and parameters to gain power. Because when you have political domination, economically you dominate, socially you dominate, every aspect of life you dominate. So they use, when it comes to politics, it's not just a question of number. It's not just a question of number, but it's survival of the fittest. Who has the power to manipulate? And here we're trying to talk about, in a conference like this, we are trying to project and advance a situation where we attain equity, justice, like the presenter has been talking about, equity, justice, fairness. But you discover that because the core northerner is politically conscious, when it comes to political position, they will now remember that we have 19 northern states. It's not 19 northern states. to co-opt these other people without them knowing in order to get the number. But even in the real case of the whole thing, it is manipulation. Who told you that Buhari won the election during in 2015? It was manipulation. The person who has the power to manipulate. And that was why the presenter was talking about if they changed Jega, there was no way Buhari would have won the distance. So it is what we should be talking about is fairness, justice, and how to. And then at the end of it all, it just boils down to what we are saying. Nigeria is simply a scam. It is a scam. Why is it that presently, just like the last speaker said, so many issues, north, south, east, west, everywhere we have crisis now. But the president cannot even talk because most of the people perpetrating these things seem to have one affiliation with him or the other.
Thank you.
And you see that when we talk about state police and all that, then they don't want to listen to that because there is a unilateral commanding. It comes from Abuja, such that our state governors, who it is claimed that they are chief executives of the various states, they are constitutionally powerless. Constitutionally, they are powerless. They cannot function.
Thank you, sir.
So it is that we don't want to accept justice. We don't want to accept equity. We don't want to accept the truth.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take Joy Nwando now, and then Onwasanya FCC Jones, and then Pamson, and then please we go back to our guest to sum up his presentations today. Joy Nwando, please.
Good evening.
You're welcome, sir.
I want to thank Dr. Tony Nwaezeigwe and his explanation and everything. But I want to ask simple question, and which I want the audience to answer. Number one, can we still be Nigeria with this situation that we have created high level of enmity among ourselves within the ethnic group? And if we still believe that we can still be Nigerian, can any of us tell me how it can be possible? That's my question, and I would like the answer.
Well, thank you very much. I hope Dr. Nwaezeigwe is taking note of all the comments and questions when he will respond. Let's take all of them and then round up because we have only a few minutes remaining. Onwasanya FCC Jones, please.
Good evening, Daniel Elombah. Good evening, everyone. I am very sorry I joined the discussion late. So I will be very brief in my submission. I think I must admit and also appreciate the fact that majority of Nigerians are dissatisfied and understandably frustrated with how Nigeria is going at the moment. But I also think that the popular as the idea or the opinion that we are better off going our different ways is, I still think it is a lazy man's approach or a lazy man's solution idea to solving Nigeria's problems. We must not continue to fall into the temptation of stereotyping every Hausa or Fulani man as being responsible for Nigeria's problems. The Fulanis are as well suffering. The Hausas are suffering as a result of a failed leadership system in the country. If I may suggest, like I always do, my idea about how best to get Nigeria out of its current troubles is for us to transmute our anger, our dissatisfaction to more patriotic ideas on how to provide Nigeria with better governance at all levels. There is no how it can be proven by anybody that up to 40% of Hausas or Fulanis are in support of the imbalance, of the injustice, of the wickedness that have become the culture of our political leadership over the years. There is no how it can be proven that the Yoruba man, or 40% or 50% of Yorubas, are in support of the 8 years or 16 years or 12 years of their errors or mistakes or wickedness or corruption that was perpetrated by a member or members of their ethnic group who at one time or the other held sway in the country. There is no how it can also be proven that 40 or 50% of Igbo people are in support of the bad governance going on across the Southeast states. If we must tell ourselves the truth, the idea of secession is not a sustainable option, alternative to solving Nigeria's problems. Because over the years, even though the fact that a lot of people or a particular section or some sections of the country seem to be at a better advantage numerically or politically, and thereby taking more federation allocations from the federal government of Nigeria. That does not also wipe away the fact that we have had very irresponsible leaders in the Southeast and across all regions of this country over the years. There is no law. It is not because of the fault in our constitution that a councillor can make away with funds meant for the development of his ward or community. It is not because of the constitution that a pastor will make away with monies contributed by his parishioners to develop the church, and he rather uses it to develop his family and send his children abroad while his parishioners suffer. It is not because of our constitution that the President General of a town union will make away with monies meant for the development of his community and leave his people in penury and hunger. It is not because of our constitution or the structure of the country. It is not the fault of the Fulani man or the Hausa man or the Hausa or the Fulani headsman that the market leader in our local market makes away with monies meant for the development of the market. So we must begin to talk about the issues and reduce our emotion. We must seriously try not to be too emotional about these issues. Every one of us, if we can transmute our anger, our dissatisfaction, our energy in preaching for dissolution of Nigeria into investing in changing the political system, in making our political leaders more responsible, more responsive to issues of governance in the country, I think we'll be better off. Because even if Nigeria is dissolved at the moment the way it is today, there will still be problems across all regions. Even if we had to create 36 countries out of the present day Nigeria, there will still be issues. Because there will still be people in different, we have communal clashes across states. The bordering community with Imo State, the bordering community with Abia State are still fighting over issues that can easily be resolved if we sit down around the table. So we must try as much as possible. For those who are asking for referendum, is it not the same INEC? Are we going to import angels from heaven or people from America to come and conduct the referendum for us? The same INEC that has been accused of conducting some of the worst elections in the history of democracy. So if they conduct a referendum today and tell us that only 5% of people voted for secession, what do?
Thank you.
We continue fighting. So that is it. Thank you very much, and God bless all of us.
Thank you very much for that brilliant submission. We'll take lastly from Pamson before we go to Dr. Nwaezeigwe, and of course, any other person that may want to contribute after, so that we won't keep our guests staying here the whole night. We'll call it a day after that and then continue the discussion if we want to. Pamson, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I will have just turned down speaking because the last speaker kind of poured out my mind. But I just felt, let me add up on what he said. Number one, the Middle Belt is not an imaginary region. Even during the First Republic, the Middle Belt came together and had a united Middle Belt party. So for somebody to tell you, because of the caliphate balkanization of the geographical space into states, and that is now telling you that there is nothing like a Middle Belt, that's a lie. So let us get that very clear. And that Middle Belt is your ally and is your friend. Number two, you have a wife with a pregnancy and you want to terminate that pregnancy because you believe that the second baby that she will bring out with after this one will be better than this one. That is the kind of mindset I think the Igbos are looking at Nigeria. We too can play this game. We have been with these people. We too can play this game. The Fulani, in actual sense, in their number, they are not even, their population is not up to the Hausa's population. But they have been able to take control of the chieftaincy or what they call the feudal system, and then brought these people under them. You will recall that in Kaduna, just of recent, the governor have revoked the what they call the chiefdoms that his predecessor had, and that created independence for the southern Kaduna chiefdoms. He has brought them back to the Zauzau chiefdom. That is to say, they have a way of trying to control the space that is within what they claim to be their own region. We too can play this game. We understand this game. We in the Middle Belt, if we relate with you, the only problem the Middle Belt is having is that we are short of funding, which is the advantage that the Southeast have. Without the government dollars, they have been able to create an enterprise on themselves, and then they have been able to consolidate when it comes to financial strength. That is a mistake that we in the Middle Belt, we were not able to key into that. But immediately we have this alliance, we will tell you the secrets. You will understand the way they go. We can beat these people in their game, but we need this alliance. First of all, they believe in Islam first before their region or their area or their community. But we always look at our tribe or our region or our community first before our religion. That twist is what has been giving them the strength to be moving the way they are moving. And if we have an alliance, we understand this religious dichotomy, and we decide to use it for once. Let's have this alliance between the Middle Belt, the Southeast, and the South-South. In the Southwest, the Christian element there will align. And at the end of the day, we can beat this game. This has always been a theory that we've been trying to push forward. But somehow, I think your people are not getting it. So that is just my own contribution in this matter.
Thank you very much. Dr. Nwaezeigwe, you have the floor now.
Thank you very much, Mother. Quite interesting contribution. First of all, Joy Wendu talked about my position on the state of Nigeria. In fact, the only mistake we made was Oka. People don't normally talk about Oka, the man who saw yesterday, who saw tomorrow. Gideon Oka. What you are suffering today, he saw it earlier. And that was when he decided he attempted to create a new Nigeria. But that attempt failed. And oftentimes I've not been a fan of secession or balkanization of Nigeria for one very fact. I am a historian, I'm a student of Nigerian politics. I know, and I know what the Middle Belters are going through. I have a lot of friends in Zulu Emirates, in Plateau, and other places. I've lived in the north, and wherever I find myself, they are my next of kin because of that common index of Christianity. And if you say, let us separate today, where would they find themselves? Unless they're joining a new Nigeria. That is one. So, but practically, Nigeria is at a state of precipice. And if I could say, it is like an elephant that is dying, that is just waiting for who will take which portion. That is position in that situation. But the most important urgent need of synergy between the Igbo and the Middle Belt presently is on security matters. Put 2003 presidential election, because he had just subterfuge, being employed by the Fulani through the INEC, fixing dates for election, and so on and so on. The election that they've already decided who will be the president. They've already decided the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria announcing it. What we need now is networking for security. How do we stop the banditry? How do we stop the continuous shedding of innocent blood by Fulani bandits, herdsmen? Because under the present situation, there will be no election in 2023. So our focus of synergy should be Middle Belt, South-South, Southeast, Southwest, have a common security network and coordination. If they're attacking this way, attack that way. Because the Fulani succeeds because they know that we are divided. So they attack in isolation. So our most important thing is what? Security, before we talk of 2003. Secondly, I can't say I'm disappointed with my my brother contribution, trying to paint black, white. And I know you'll be speaking from America or United Kingdom on Europe, where you have enough burger and hot dog to eat for his breakfast and dinner. But not in Nigeria.
No, it's in Nigeria, sir.
No. It is in Nigeria who is saying this. Because of daily shootings, daily killings, insecurity everywhere. I'm in exile because of the crisis in Nigeria. And Chief Elombah, I posted a video where I am now at Aflawo, 549 Igbo people deported from Ghana. They're there, docked there. They have been waiting for Nigerian ambassador to come and rescue them for more than a month. For more than a week now. Whose leader will attend to them? They are Aflawo, Ghana. They are all Igbo. 549 Igbo youths deported from Ghana. Do we have Igbo leaders? If we have Igbo leaders, they've gone. If we have Nigerian leaders, they should have gone. We remember when Senegal deported some Nigerians. You know, during Jonathan's era, Jonathan deported, some Senegalese in retaliation and gave them money and said, tell them to tell their God, this is how you deport your fellow African. You don't deport them empty-handed. The Ghanaian government is doing it because he wants us to react. He wants Nigerians to take the bull by the horn. And I bet you, if Nigerians want to change the situation, they can do it. We have an insensitive members of the National Assembly. We have an insensitive governors, an insensitive minister, an insensitive set of members of the House of Assembly. They are sitting, they have the police protection, they have the money, they don't care. And these are the people we elected. Until we hold them accountable, we have the long throat of mega church ministers, archdeacons, bishops, archbishops, collecting tithes, offerings every Sunday, praying for us.
Thank
for
you.
the heaven we are here to see. Whereas here, we are meeting here. By the time, if they want this Nigeria to change tomorrow, they will mobilize. Come out of the street. Say enough of this insult, enough of this insecurity, enough of this killing. Otherwise, we continue to be killed as chicken. That is the only thing that we do if you want Nigeria to be one. Otherwise, if Nigeria breaks up today, it is very difficult to put it together because the amount of sophisticated arms and ammunition in private arms is so alarming that even the military at one point will become part of the bandits themselves.
Thank you very much, sir. I think at this point, we will end the first segment of this program before moving into the second segment. Thank you very much, Dr. Nwankwo, for being with us for the past 2 hours now. It's been very enlightening on this very hot subject in Nigerian politics. And I thank all of you. I will not, because there are so many speakers, I wouldn't mention you one by one, for making our time for being with us tonight. And at this point, I say, have a good evening.